find out if you're ready for love. Here's your marvelous host, Nikki Lee.
Hello, and welcome to Ready for Love Radio. This is your host and love coach, Nikki Lee. Now, folks, if you wanted advice on love, sex, and relationships, who would you ask? You know, you would probably, I'm hoping that you would tune into my show because, you know, I like to find experts and then, you know, share some of the wisdom that I got through my love coach training with Dr. Ava, who always has good information. Now, my guest today likes to share information and tips and wisdom that he got from his grandmother. I find that fascinating. I first saw that, and I'm like, grandmother. Now, I've got one grandmother that is not where I would have gone for advice, but that's interesting. And then I think back to conversations I had with one of my other grandmothers, and I remember, you know, being on the phone and picking on her because, you know, she in her early 90s, she had a younger man boyfriend, and I had more fun picking on her about that. Of course, he was in his 80s, but he was still a younger man, so I had a lot of fun picking on her about that. But, you know, I find this whole scenario fascinating, and I'm very interested to find out what tips he's got to share. And I forgot to mention that he's French and his grandmother was French. So we know that, you know, France is you know, known for their information and their romance and love and this sort of thing. So I think that he's going to have some interesting things to share with us. So, and you're gonna love his name. I'm just telling you. So my guest today is Guy Blaise. Guy, how are you today?
I'm doing very well, and thank you for having me on your show.
And I got your name right?
Listener, yes, you got it right. Guy, yes. Like a guy. Guy Blaise, blaze like a fire.
Gee, I think you made that part up, but okay.
No.
All right. You know, you should actually. We talked about stuff before. I should have told you about my grandma and her younger man boyfriend. I had more fun picking on her about that. I really did. That was cute. But yeah, she told me that he had I think a hip replacement and a knee replacement. I said, well, Grandma, he's a whole new man. You know? Plus he was younger. I mean, woo, gracious. Oh, and I love he has a book, y'all, called Love Like the French. Oh my goodness, I like that too.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the book.
You know, I was looking at your media kit, and I like this introduction. Let me share this with the audience. It says, the French have a different perspective on romantic relationships and love, and that's an understatement. And I totally agree with this next thing. Not everybody, but I think you're right about a lot of people. It says American women settle for too little, struggle too much, tolerate unsatisfying sex too often. With risque and candid advice from Frenchman Guy Blaise, this sexy guide answers everything you need to know about the liberated French approach for more passionate flings, sexual satisfaction, and fulfilling balanced partnerships. Holy crap. Okay. I like that introduction. I had to steal that. I could have said I made it up, but I do give credit where credit is due. So I protect my intellectual property and I protect other people's. So you know, now you're in the U.S. now, and you've been here for what, about 20 years?
Yeah, in and out, back and forth between France and America. Yeah.
Okay. So what gave you the idea? First of all, tell us about your grandma. I love grandmas. So tell me about your grandma.
But my grandmother, she's now 94.
Awesome.
So she still live in Bordeaux in the south of France.
Okay.
West of France. I was the first grandson, so I grew up around her. When she lost her husband, she used to call me my new husband. So I was a little boy, but so I seen her raising her daughters, and I learned a lot of tips to learn how to respect a woman. And also when I had run in trouble myself in my own relationships, I would run to her. She's still my best friend. Yeah, she's still my best friend. Yeah.
I understand that. Well, both of my grandmothers lived to be about 94, 95, right in that ballpark.
Yeah.
They have a lot of wisdom. I tell you what, when they've lived that long a life, it's amazing the wisdom that they've gathered at that point. So
yeah, I call her my private library.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, they've seen so much and done so much, and wow, I can't imagine young people that don't spend time with their grandparents because there's so much you can learn. Wow.
So much you can learn about life, about things, how to do things, wisdom.
Yes.
A living library.
Completely agree. Wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Well, and you have like 3 or 4 daughters, don't you?
Yeah, I have 4 daughters. Yeah.
You're surrounded by women. So.
Yeah, surrounded. I mean, that's really, and they amuse me, my daughters. They can talk.
I saw that on. My gracious.
Yeah, they can talk 4 personalities, different opinions. So when they argue, or that is just in the middle and just listening, and I don't choose a side, just listen until they finish. And then I can say my point, but it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I just bet that's interesting. It was just me and my brother. That was enough. That was just enough. But I'll leave that alone. So what made you decide to share your grandmother's wisdom? I think it's a good idea. What brought this about?
Well, when I came from France, so I learned it first time I never moved. So I came from Paris to America. My first impression of American was, but white people don't hold hands, but white people don't kiss each other in public. It was just bizarre to see, but white American they love each other, or how they love each other. So I started observing for years, just seeing. I hear the word PDA. I was like, what is that? What's wrong? It's like God is watching every citizen in America. So you should not do this. There's so many rules about expressing love, and I think I told my grandmother one time. I said, she asked me one day how life is there. I said, well, it look like people here as it's like a mental constipation of love. You just don't want to share, express it. So I started writing, taking notes. And then, God gave me 4 daughters. So I'm saying, I'm kind of seeing eventually one day they're going to be dating. So I'm going to pass what I learned from my grandmother to my daughters. And everything will be fine. So so that's how I come out with this idea of writing. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I just did an interview the other day with a woman, and she said that she went on a trip with her husband. Her husband had to go to Paris for a business trip, and so she went with him. And we were talking about style on that show, and she said even just dressing to look good, Parisians made it look easy. You know, it wasn't the way people do it here, that they make it look so hard, you know, to look good, you know, and the effort and the, you know what I'm trying to say? It's just like it's so much work to look good, you know. It just kind of flows, you know. It's done. They look good. They look confident. They, you know, but it's easy. And she actually started a business here called The Wandering Parisian to show people how to do that, you know. Yeah,
because it's natural. It's natural there. It's in France. Exactly. It's natural. You don't think too much. Just be you yourself. Be authentic, you know. Right. Just be yourself, and nobody, don't be afraid at how the people are perceiving me or how they're going to judge me. That's adding up more pressure on yourself.
Right.
Yeah. Right. That's the mindset of the people. France. Yeah.
People are so worried about what everybody else thinks.
Exactly.
You know. That's and worry themselves to death about that kind of stuff, and it's crazy. But I know. If you can turn that off, it's amazing the difference it makes. It's just amazing. Well, the funny thing is, you can't control what the other person thinks. I don't care what you do, you can't control it. All you can do is control your reaction to it.
Yeah, my philosophy is very simple. There is a gentleman called Jesus Christ, but that man, nobody is called Jesus, but not everybody loves Jesus. So what about you? So you have to accept it that there will be people who love you and the people who will not like you. So it's life. Like we say in French, c'est la vie.
Yep. Like I said, the only thing you control is your reaction. That's it. You know?
Yeah.
That's all you can control. The rest of it, just whatever. They're going to do what they're going to do.
Exactly. So be happy and move on with life. Do what you think is best for you.
Exactly. Now, women's empowerment is something that I really like to talk about on here. Although I do add the caveat that I don't think anybody's empowerment needs to or has to include belittling or disempowering anybody else. Okay?
I totally agree.
Okay. Good. See, I like when people agree with that. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you had to give one big takeaway for American women, what would that be? We're going to delve into all kinds of other things, but let's give them one big takeaway up front.
I will say love yourself first.
Oh.
And that's
love it.
Very important. Love yourself first. And don't expect a validation from your outside world. Your father, your boyfriend, your husband. First you. It sounds selfish, but it's important. Yeah.
Well, and validating yourself is so much more valuable than anybody else's.
Yeah.
You know,
sounds selfish, but
well, yeah. Well, honestly, being able to validate yourself, just has so much more value. The others are nice, but they're just not as important as feeling that validation within yourself. You know,
you
others
matter.
The others are kind of like the sprinkles on top.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, they add to it, but loving yourself is the icing, and the others are the sprinkles on top.
Exactly. And you have to, because that will decide or determine who you are. And you have to know that if you don't start by, we have a saying in French, you have to clean your own house first before you clean your neighbor's house. So love you first.
Yes. What? Very good. Now, I didn't set that up with you ahead of time, right? You came up with that all by yourself?
Oh, I'm very spontaneous. Yeah. I am very spontaneous, a quick thinker. Yeah, I think.
That's the kind of answer I would have given. That's why I wanted you to let them know I didn't set that up. So.
No, you did not. Yeah.
I love it when somebody comes up with the answer I would have said. So. Yeah,
that tell you I still function well. So.
Okay, so now I'm asking a guy this next question. So this could be a dangerous question to ask a guy, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. So we'll see what the answer is.
Okay.
How long? And all the guys in the audience are gonna go, come on now, keep us in mind with this answer. How long should a person wait to have sex if, this is a big if, you want to have a serious relationship?
Well, depending, I don't believe in holding sex, because sex is just a piece of the big equation. A relationship is an equation. Sex is just a piece of it. Just a tiny piece of it. People may have an argument, sex is important. Men, us, we want to have sex as soon as possible. Sometimes a woman wants to be connected.
No. Men want to hold. Shocking.
But we don't wait too long. We kind of, and once a woman is holding, sometimes men run away because they didn't wait enough. It's taking too long. But I would say that the wait is very, it's important. That I think that's why too many breakups, because people go too quick, and once the sex is there is no effort. A man will say mission accomplished because I was just waiting for the sex. But a girl, sometimes was investing all her emotion into something that will not last. So waiting is important to make sure that you're making the right choice for both and men. Yeah.
I think part of the problem too is, how do I word this? People being honest about it. Some guys saying what they think they have to get a woman to have sex. And then a woman sometimes saying, oh, it's not important to me. No. And she's saying one thing, and she's like, oh, he loves me. Oh, he's having sex with me. He loves me.
Mm-hmm.
And you know good and well that's not what. No.
Exactly.
That's true. Maybe 1/1000th of the time. I mean, let's get serious. Well, and a lot of times you're so young, neither one of you have a clue what love is. I mean, you really don't. You may be infatuated, but you don't know what love is at that point.
Yeah.
Okay. I really shouldn't ask this of a Frenchman, but I'm going to. What do you think about? Is there too young to have sex?
Too young. Well, we live in a new world. Kids are getting more exposed to sexuality than 30 years ago, probably. So if they don't learn it from they're sneaky and they find it on their phone or their device. So too young sometimes, but there is a difference between love and sex. People can have sex without loving each other. I mean, that people perceive it that, oh, I love you, but that's not really love. That's just exploring. Too young, yeah. Okay. Sometimes.
Let me change the question. How about too young to be able to handle having sex?
Oh no. Sex is it's mechanical. They so serious.
Emotionally handle having sex.
Emotionally, that's a difference because
anybody could mechanically have sex, but
emotionally having sex, that's a part that can be very challenging. Women are known for being emotional, but men more toward the mechanical part than emotion. So how you can fit both, it takes a while. That's why I think it's important to take a moment before you start having sex. It's just to be on the same page, at least close to the same page.
I know, at least in the same book.
Yeah, exactly. So
I think there are times that they aren't even in the same book.
No, it's difficult sometimes just not to be on the same page. Yeah.
Very, very true. But yeah, you've got kids, so I mean you're much more up on this than I am. Well, and you've got girls, so you probably don't want to even think about that. But the mentality, I have a hard time fathoming how much the mentality about anything related to sex has changed with teenagers. I'm around teens and they talk about sex, and I'm not closed-minded about sex at all, and it still floors me. I'll hear them talk about stuff, and I'm just sitting there going, "You're how old again?"
But because they are very exposed. They're very exposed to sexuality that their parents used to be at their age, and we have to accept it and just educate them and tell them, show them what a condom look like, and what's for.
And then I see parents posting things on Facebook, and I'm sitting there going, "You really have no clue. You really have no clue what's going on with kids, and probably not with your kids." And wow,
Yeah, the kids are very, very sexualized. They are so exposed. They have now every kid with their cell phone, so that's a little computer in your hand, in their hands, and phone is free. They are free side there. So how can parents cannot be a police behind them? So they talk to their friends. They know it from school. They know it from
Well, and I mean there was a time that teaching abstinence was probably a really good idea, but parents can encourage whatever they want to, but I'm all for making sure that people have all the facts so that when something presents itself, they can make an educated decision. Don't just say no, and then if something occurs, they don't have the facts to make a decision.
I think it's better to address the problem.
Because I mean they may get into a situation that they don't have any control, and at that point they don't have any information. It's not like they're always going to have the ability to make the decision. That's just how life is. you know. So if you haven't forearmed them with the information they need, you're harming your child. You just are, you know.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
people don't see that. So I don't know. So this, you could probably talk about this next question for like the next 3 hours. But what are a couple of things that you think the French do better as far as love and relationships?
I think I would say one of the things that the French do best is communication.
There you go.
Yeah, because we don't think about holding. You have to always have that capacity to express your feelings. So what I see in America is, I give you an example. Two people are in a relationship. One may be fully into a relationship. He gave himself 100%. The other person have 1 foot in, 1 foot out, but they won't say it. And there is one word I often hear in America is keeping my options open.
Right.
Keeping my options open. But sometimes they're not telling the person they are with that they're keeping their option open until they find a better. Well, it's misleading. So I would not say that the French people are 100% honest, but this is one of the things that really in France we talk. If you're not happy or you want to make a suggestion, you talk about it and you come up with something so we both can be happy.
Right.
And I think the second point I was trying to think right now is about being authentic. I talked to you about it earlier. That being yourself. So
right.
There is no hiding. Be who you are. If you're angry, people know that you are angry, or your partner know. And it's very important to know that if I know that you don't like this, I won't do this to make you angry. And that goes both ways, men and women. It's very important. So if you ask me for 2 things, I will give you 2 things, but I can keep going and adding more.
Interesting. So the French don't do the whole keeping your options open thing, huh?
If it's that way, they say it. Are you familiar with the word ménage à trois? Well, basically, people seeing other people or bringing another person in a relationship. It's the rule is already set from the beginning. If that's the way we want to live our life, this is what we decide.
Right.
But and it's very clear. So they are in America as well. In France, people have an open marriage, and that's a rule that was already set between 2 people. That way we're going to live our life. But keeping my option open in the secret, that's different.
Right. Well, more people are doing that in America now. They may not be as open, no pun intended, about telling people that they're doing that, but there are more people doing that now.
That's true. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, so French are more open to communication, more open. Yeah, talk more about the things that and express the feelings. It's not surprising for a Frenchman to be crying, but here in America we say no, it's not manly. So.
Is there anything you've seen that makes you? Because I know communication is just ridiculous over here. Is there anything that you've seen that you think kind of shows why communication is so bad over here?
Well, because the men have been raised a certain way, a woman have been raised a certain way, and I think the influence of churches
Yes.
Having damaged, I say damage the whole society, that everybody play a role. A man has to play a certain role. A woman has to play a certain role. And a woman, just what I see, having raised to be a wife, and the man here being raised to be the man, more dominant. But the new world that we live, it's absurd. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So,
it's like people are afraid to say what they really think and feel because they're scared to death of how the person is going to react, and it's like,
yes, yeah. A yes maybe a yes means no, but they're afraid to say no, but they say yes, but actually they meant no.
It seems to me if you've committed your life to a person and a relationship with a person, okay, to create this life with this person, and something comes up and you don't feel like you can have an open conversation, there's a problem.
Yep.
And especially if it's something major.
Yeah.
I grew up watching this for years, and there were problems, but it just it's over and over and over, and I see it everywhere, all over the place.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I do think
problem will always
is a big part of it, but yeah.
Yeah, a relationship, for example, is a challenge. As people who were so madly in love, after 10 years, they may be the worst enemies. But it's constantly, you have to keep, it's like a plant, and they need water. You keep watering the plant so that the plant grow. So it's the same thing with the relationship. You have to keep working on it to make it, that two people can still love each other. I don't believe in love. I don't believe in love. I may shock you, but I say I don't believe in love, but I believe in proof of love. See the New York?
Explain. Tell me about that.
I say I don't believe in love. I don't believe in love. I believe in proof of love.
Okay.
So show me every day by your actions than telling me every day I love you. But
Well, it's too easy for people to just say love you. Yeah, I've seen people do that, but then they show no indication of it.
But
so it's like
that can be after a fight. I love you.
Yeah. I've seen people that do that, like every time they walk in or out the door or whatever, but there's like no indication by their actions at all. And it's like no.
Yeah.
So
to answer to your question earlier, when I was talking about communication, two people being together, each person must have their own opinion. So if you're a spouse, you disagree with the other person, say it, so that you both know that you have differences.
True. Well, and the thing is, if you've got a mutual respect for each other, you should be able to discuss things and have differing opinions and listen and be okay with that. That's the problem with our entire society here, is people don't have enough respect for each other to say, I don't agree with you, but I respect your right to have a different opinion.
That's it. Yeah. That's a challenge here, and also saying sorry when they're wrong.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable that if you're wrong, you cannot say, I'm sorry, I was wrong.
Yeah.
You won't die. You still can go to heaven. Yeah.
All right. Now, ladies, you're going to love my next question. You're going to love this. I promise you. And men, perk up your ears here. What do you think men can do to be better lovers?
Well, I will talk about the intelligence. I notice here in America, women are turned on when a man is intelligent. Well, you may ask me what I mean being intelligent. It's not necessarily wearing glasses to make you look like intelligent. But it's a man who pay attention to what woman. Pay attention, in France, intelligent men pay attention to what's going on women issues. So that they may be doing something wrong in their own marriage, not being aware what the issues of women are. So educate yourself to be a better husband, better partner, and that's very important, intelligence. That's what I call intelligence.
Be aware and be present is two big ones.
Yeah, and better lover does not say any bad thing about her partner when she's not there. When you say good thing about your partner, around your friends, your family, that's great. But don't say anything negative about her to others. That's a better lover do.
Yeah.
Good lover do. Don't say bad things behind your partner, her back. Don't say it to the people, to stranger, family, wherever. You may have big differences. You keep it in the bedroom. You don't bring it outside of the bedroom. What can I say again for a man to be a better lover? Keep learning. I mean, sometimes ask her what she want to do, what her dream are, show some interest in what she's doing. Ask questions. Or sometimes I see, right, here in America, you kind of fit a role, the woman have to be in the kitchen. Well, the best cook in the world are men. So if you can cook, help your partner. If your wife is cooking, maybe you can say, listen, can I help? Or can I cut the onion? Or can I load the dishes in the dishwasher? Participate. That interaction. I think that will make both partners feel, appreciate each other.
Just offering to help around the house will make her happier than you can imagine.
But yeah, because one of the problem in France that caused the divorce is the fact that the partner is not helping. And you both living in the same house. Well, if you put a role that a wife has to be the mother, raise the children, cook the food, iron the clothes, well, that's a lot of work. So that just destroy your relationship with your partner if you don't participate. And the modern man should not think that way. Should participate in everything. And one of the things that we notice in France is that a man who is a good father for the children, he's very loved by his wife. And if you're a good dad, your wife will love you because they see you doing activity with your children. And so that means you're playing your role.
That's right.
Yeah. Voila. So I gave you a few. Yeah. So that. I hope I answered to your question.
So, if a man's not great in the bedroom, is there anything, or if a woman's just not satisfied with the sex that she's getting, is there anything that she can do to improve that?
Well, first of all, a woman should not be guilty or don't feel sorry because it's not your fault.
Okay.
All right? So if it's a man problem, a woman should not feel like, oh, she's doing something wrong. Well, you heard about the blue pill that exists. that if you have an erection problem, it can help. Ask your doctor. Now,
right.
Sex is an art. Huh?
Yes.
Art. Sex is it's like a play. You have to learn. Each of us have their way of doing things, but to play, you have to prepare it. You can't just go and have sex just because you are horny and you just jump on on your woman. And so for if a woman is in a position like that, then teach him that I don't like you entering me so quick. Take the time, or the foreplay. Let's play first. You'll be amazed at that the French are so very known for traveling a lot. A one-day trip to the beach can make a whole difference in your sexuality.
Interesting. That would include, well, and we're talking about communicating.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, now the woman would need to know what she likes in order to communicate these things, wouldn't she?
But of course, that's why I said that a woman should not be shy also to tell what they like. If your partner is doing something wrong in a bed, tell him that. And you see, I notice here people say, "Oh, I didn't want to tell him because I didn't want to hurt his feelings." Well, how men cannot read woman's mind, you know? So if it's hurting, say it's hurting, you know. Do it differently, or let's try it different way. And it's just a matter of communication in the bedroom until everybody find their balance, good balance, and be more creative to kill the routine. Just don't do the same thing, a missionary every night. It's boring. Missionary position, I'm talking. It's boring, you know.
Yeah, not sex every night is boring, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, depends. Yeah, you know. Yeah.
Well, and how would she want to address this with him? Is there a good way and a bad way to say these things?
Well, don't be afraid, because here I notice a men say they're tough. They can handle the truth. You know, don't say it the way that you're going to hurt it. And we have different way of communication. You know, sometimes if it's not verbal, you can write a note to your husband, your partner. Just leave him a note. Send him a note that, you know, make a suggestion that, you know, let's do it differently this way. But don't be, you know, we don't wear clothes. That's a French expression. That don't be afraid to talk to a man that you're married or you are seeing each other nakedness. You both are naked. So what holds you to talk? You know. Yeah.
True.
Satan, based on his mood, sometimes can be after the sex, or sometimes the next day. But take a moment when he's calm, when he's happy, or just pass your message. The worst thing you do to yourself is not to say anything, and he may be thinking that he's so great, but he's not.
That's the thing. If you don't say anything, he thinks that you're liking what he's doing.
Well,
so why?
Exactly. And men don't read women's mind. So tell him that if you bad, tell him you bad. Don't be afraid.
You know, I think there's 3 times in a row now that we've said, okay, he can't read your mind. You know, but that needs to be repeated, because people seem to too many people seem to think that their mind is being read. So
yeah, no, it's not necessary for a man of saying, how did I do? No, women don't have to grade a man. No, but the man also have to make an effort to educate himself how to please a woman in a bed. And there are so many material out there that, you know, not learning from porn. Porn is just kill the sex life. That's just not the way the man should go learn how to make love to a woman. That's not the right place. Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, you please different people different ways, and you please the same person different ways, different times.
Yes.
You know,
and try different things.
Yes.
Try different things. You'll be surprised that you may discover something that you didn't think about it. And because you explore, you try. But if you don't try, you will never know. Voila.
Exactly. So why is it, and we hear this frequently, why is it that we hear the French are better lovers?
Well, it's inside the mindset of the French. Right? A Frenchman knows exactly what a woman wants. Right? Because we are not afraid to ask a woman what you like and what you don't like. Or what you like or what you dislike. So you record it in your brain. You know that sometimes don't wait for Valentine to go grab a flower for your woman without any event. You don't wait for a big event. Grab a flowers, bring at home. I was thinking about you. Sometimes, if you can afford it, a surprise gift. Well, this is between man and woman. It's not only a man doing in one way. It's both, constantly. And the faux pas that a man should not do, or a woman, is to forget each other's birthdays. You know, wedding anniversary, not to have to make a big party, but you know that, we've been married for 5 years, so let's do something special about it. You know, so French pay attention, actually, to the feelings and the events. And I'm not making it like the French are the perfect lover. No, the divorce happened in France as well, but French are lovers just because they express love in the bedroom, outside of the bedroom. You go in Paris or go in any town in France, you see people holding hands. They don't care about people thinking, what you call it, a PDA or wherever you call it in America.
Right.
It's absurd. Yeah, it's absurd. People need to kiss in public, and don't be afraid.
Well, and it seems that they're not afraid to communicate, you know. Well, and there's so many people that I talk to here, and they're like, well, you know, we have so many kids, and we're just so busy, and there's all these after-school activities, and you know, when the kids are off to college, then I'll spend time with my husband. It's like, you got to be kidding, you know?
Yeah.
And your kids are how old, you know? And it's like, well, he may still be there, you know, but that mentality is crazy. It's like, so you have how many kids, and you're okay, so that's 18 years per kid. So you're going to ignore your relationship for how many years? You know, that no, that's not how a relationship works. So I the first couple of times people said it to me, I was speechless because I couldn't figure out what to say, because I can't wrap my head around that mentality. You know, I mean, you need to focus on your children and being parents, but not to the exclusion of the original, you know, relationship with the husband and wife. You know,
exactly.
You got to maintain the parents. You know,
you have to find a good balance.
Yeah,
balance, because you are a mother, but you are also a wife, or you are a father, but you're also a husband. So there will be a moment where you have to find a time when you say the kids need to have their time, and we need our time. And for many of your listeners listening to me, especially guys, I say that you want to be a better lover, you need to know a better lover in the bed. I'm saying you need to know the woman anatomy, right? So if you don't know where is the clit, you need to know where it is. So you're missing a point there. Statistics are out there saying that many women don't orgasm through penetration. So you have to go look somewhere else to please her. Be curious.
Well, I mean, the parents are the original units that created the children. Okay, so basically, you're letting that foundation crumble.
Yeah.
What? How is that helping the children? You know, but wow.
Yeah.
So
there is
what?
A problem.
Yeah, there is. So what makes a relationship last? How do you keep the relationship, and what do you do? What do you do when the sex is gone, and your relationship is just kind of there, but not really? You're not really participating in it anymore. What do you do?
But the sex is gone.
We all know relationships like that. What should they do at that point?
But the love for sex is gone for a reason in first place. So love is not forever. Love is never forever. You have to. It's like I'm giving an analogy of a plant. It's constantly you have to water the plant to see the flower bloom, and so at some point people said, okay, we've been married for 2 years. Let's just sit and just talk about what was good in the last 2 years and what was bad. Well, what can we learn from the bad so that we can make it better? And constantly. It's not like if you go 5 years without questioning the way things are going because, life is great, but suddenly sex is gone. Something is not right. There may be frustration. You know, maybe the feeling is gone because maybe you're yelling at each other or putting the load of all the work in one person. It can be sometimes if a wife is in a house and the man is working, you come from work and the wife is dead tired. But what can we do differently to make things that can work for both of us? There is always a cause to there is a root for the lack of sex later in life. So I think people should be talking constantly, every 2 years, every year, just have a little overview of their year. What was good, what was not good, and what can we do better? Constantly. That's the key to me. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, because as people, we're always changing. You know, we're hopefully we're not stagnating, and you know, as we grow, and you know, even you know, as parents with children, as they're changing, they're growing, and we change from year to year as we're getting older, and as we're doing things, we just innately change. You know,
exactly. Change is a fact of life.
And you know, and even in a relationship, we're either growing and becoming closer, or we can grow apart if you aren't working to stay together and to grow closer. That's just, I mean, that's a fact of life, you know.
Yes, it is. Yeah, that's a fact. But we have to accept it that the man you married.
It's not really I don't think growing apart is really a fault. It's more, have you worked to stay together, or do you let it grow apart? What do you think?
That's why. That's a saying that they let, because yes, people can agree and disagree all the time in a relationship, but depending on who's going to compromise, or how can we make things, you know, can we compromise to make things better? But if everyone stay in their position, you know, that's going to make a distance, create a distance, and people will grow apart more and more at the end. And then beginning of extramarital affairs or emotional affairs, because they don't talk.
Yeah. Well, especially when you have no real connection with your partner anymore.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, we actually talked for an hour. You want to tell the listeners where they can find more about you?
Oh, yes. So they can find me on Amazon. The book is called Love Like the French. I am on Instagram, the French _French perspective. And I'm on Facebook, the French Perspective. So, yeah, you find me, and I'm on Barnes & Noble. So, yeah, Love Like the French is the title of the book.
Awesome. Well, I had a lot of fun talking. I'm glad you were with me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Awesome. And if you go to lovecoachjourney.com/lovelikeTheFrench, you will find all the links for Guy's information online and for his book and the replay of today's show. So thanks for being with me. I had a lot of fun. And listeners, I'll be with you next time on Ready for Love Radio.